We live, baby.
You comfortable?
Yeah.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Amanda and this is my husband Raph. And a couple of months ago we said that we were going to start doing videos every month of the two of us just sitting down and talking about all the things, anything. We've done a few videos already together, which I will have linked somewhere, I don't know, description box or on the video. Mr. Editor will sort it out. But we had a month off and now we're back again.
Yeah, I feel as though inconsistency is not key. However, either Amanda's been ill, or I've been ill, or Izzy's been ill, or something's been going on. So
sometimes life happens and we're still figuring out this YouTube business. So bear with us, but we're back and consistency is going to be coming to you. But today's topic is something that Mr. Chisholm come up with. So, I mean, I haven't prepared for it. He just decided it's Sunday. It's been a busy day. We've done swimming, we've done painting, we've done hair. And then Raph says to me, when Isabella goes to sleep, we're recording a video and I've got a topic.
Yeah.
So here we are.
So first of all, we were looking for a name. So let's call it On Couch with Chisholms.
Okay. I don't like it. Anyway,
So
what's today?
On Couch with Chisholms.
Raph's from Leeds. He's a Yorkshire guy, if you didn't know.
Yorkshireman.
Yorkshireman.
Right, so yeah, first of all, we've got 30 minutes. No longer than that, so we're going to put the timer on. And it is, should we have Black History Month? Discuss.
That was very teacher. Raph's also a teacher, for those of you who don't know. Okay, so it's October. In the UK, that is Black History Month. The whole of the UK, isn't it? It's not just England.
It is...
I don't know, we're from England.
Definitely from England.
And
I think it's the whole of the UK.
I think it's the whole of the UK, but it's Black History Month. Should we have Black History Month? Yes, I think we should.
No, I don't think we should.
Okay, you go first. Go on, tell me your...
No. Go.
So, I think we need Black History Month, but I think the way that it has been defined and what has been done during Black History Month probably needs to change, and it is beginning to change. So for me, in Black History Month, it should be a time for us to celebrate our achievements as Black people, our culture, what makes us special, and for us to be able to embrace that and share it with other people that live in our society. So yeah, other people in the UK, be able to show that, express that, because Black people have done a lot to shape our Western culture right now, the UK culture. And although we're only, was it like 3% of the population?
3%.
We are just 3% of the population, but actually our impact is much greater than that. And some of the foundation, or like the essential industries that are out there, often the people that are running it, maybe not always the ones that are at the top of the business, but the ones that are actually doing the things to make sure the country runs, is often made up of minorities and Black people in particular. I think we've done a lot for this country. I think that we are misrepresented and under-celebrated, and so I think there is a need for Black History Month. Now, what I don't think Black History Month should be, though, is just telling all the negative things that Black people have gone through. I don't think it should be a time for us to talk about slavery and all of that. I don't think it should be a time to think about, you know, how hard done by we are, because those kind of bits of history, they're just history, because the Western world wouldn't be running the way it is without Black people and without the stories of slavery. And so that should just be part of everyday history. Just like we learn about the Romans, how they had their empire, and the British Empire and all that stuff, we should learn about what Black people did for, you know, the world to function as it is.
Can I just jump in there then, please? Can I just jump in there? That's why I'm saying no. I don't think we should have a Black History Month, because you're talking about all the things that we should be learning, not condensed into a month, or depending on where you are, a week. or 2 hours in that week. I feel as though it should be integrated into the curriculum, because, like you say, it's not Black history, it's world history. It's contributed, hasn't it? So that's why I don't think we should have a Black History Month, because idealistically, it would be something that we taught all year round. Like in primary school, we learned about the Egyptians. They never told us that these Egyptians were black, but that was Black history. Yeah,
and the thing is, there's just so. I guess I don't think we should have a Black History Month. Actually, saying to your point, I don't think we should have a Black History Month. I think it should be a Black Celebration Month. I think Black history is world history, and that should just be throughout. There's so many things. Even I saw you posting on your Instagram that cowboys were actually black people. So like, there's just.
I didn't fact check that.
You didn't fact check it.
I didn't fact check it, but I hope it's true.
Okay, it looked pretty legit.
It looks legit.
But anything can look legit. But also, there's a lot of black people's stories that have been hidden. And so I feel like they should just be out there in everyday history. So even things like, I saw the other day that, was it Jack Daniels? His recipe was from one of his workers.
Obviously.
So it was a black person's recipe that he then went and created his fortune and everything, his empire upon. And so I think there's a lot of history that's out there that we talk about, and we hide the black people that are part of it. And so I think that needs to stop being hidden and just be a part of our everyday learned experience, and just true history.
So you think there should be
I think we should have a celebration.
So you think we should still have a Black Celebration Month, which
is
definitely. It's quite interesting. So that's something that I did this month at school. So we looked at black inventors. And it was positive, and it was just talking about obviously all the inventions that black people have made that are still used in society. So essentially what black people have contributed to society. And even though I did it and I put it together, I still had a feeling that it was like, I'm trying to legitimize our existence.
Yeah.
I'm trying to show everyone, well, actually we are worth something. We are adding to the world. Like we're worth it. That's kind of what it feels like. It's almost like as if I'm pleading for people to look at us in a positive light.
Yeah.
Which again makes me feel as though, because there's the spotlight on there, I don't know, it just feels a bit. It can feel forced.
Yeah, and you know what? I hear what you're saying, because for me, especially as I've gotten older, being black, like I love being black, and I know we're not talking about right now, like being black in Britain and our experience and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's wonderful being black. I love my culture, I love my people, but it can often be a bit of a burden. Not a burden, but sometimes it can feel exhausting. That's what I'll say. Yeah. Especially in the recent years, it can feel exhausting. And especially because we can see day to day how integral black people are to our society, and that we're so misrepresented. That's really frustrating. And so Black History Month, you want it there to be a celebration, but often it's just legitimizing our existence and our value, which is quite frustrating, because it should be evident what our existence and our value is about. And yeah, it's just because a lot of the time in what you've seen, unless you know black people on a personal level, and not just your one token black friend, but like you actually understand a bit of the culture, or you try to like get to know people, whatever, often what you see portrayed as black people is not a good representation.
And because
that's the issue.
I think because of that as well, because you talk about it being exhausting, because that media representation isn't as positive as it could be, because we are 3%, I deep the fact that we're not going to go a day without interacting with someone that's white, because Britain is 95% white or whatever. So we are always going to interact with white people. However, because we are one of the minorities, they won't always interact with black people. So there's that burden, and there's that thought in the back of your mind all the time that, or for me at least, that they might not get to interact with another black person for a long time. So I'm almost carrying every black person and their representation and their reputation on my back, and it's like so sometimes I'm like.
No, but don't you feel like sometimes you know when you see like a black person out there, you know, like you might be somewhere and there's like someone going a bit mad, or someone's going on a bit mad, or they've been a bit loud or whatever, or you know they're just like making a ruckus or whatever, and if it was a white person you'd be like, oh, that person. But when you see a black person do it, as a black person I'm like, oh, come on, man. Like, because like you're trying to hold up the whole race, which is just really unfair. That's why I mean it's exhausting being black, because you've not, and I'm sure not everyone feels like this, but for me, just like you're saying, I feel as though I need to be an example.
Yeah, and I've had these conversations with people that I've tried to hide my preferences as a person to give my preference as a black person, because again I feel as though people are gonna judge or link that to a stereotype. So I've had I remember there was a situation where somebody had asked, oh, what's your favourite takeaway? And I was stood next to a black person, and it was another black person that had been asked this question. And I've turned to the guy I'm stood next to and I was like, he better not say chicken, he better not say chicken, he better not say chicken, he better not say chicken. Just please don't say chicken, don't say chicken. And he was like, I really like X cuisine, and it wasn't like Caribbean food. No, we was like, oh. He's like, I really like their fried chicken, and we were like, and there's nothing wrong with that. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. However, that just falls into a stereotype.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, I met a black guy and he said that he liked fried chicken.
Yeah, like they all do. And then I had another conversation with Kev when we went to Super Bowl. Super Bowl? We didn't go to the Super Bowl. I was
gonna say, wow.
When we went to go watch the NFL in London.
Yeah.
And we were talking about these kind of like these loaded questions where someone was like, oh, so what do you like, or you do this, don't you? And Kev was like, so someone must have asked me what my favourite event is at the Olympics, knowing full well Kev's Jamaican and it's athletics, obviously.
But that's fine.
The fact that Jamaica do so well in athletics, and it's just the most interesting thing anyway.
Yeah.
We were like, but we never give the answer. We never give them the satisfaction of saying.
Yeah, because that's the thing, isn't it? Because you don't. It's fine. Some of the stereotypes, like not all stereotypes are bad stereotypes. So like, you know, black people being athletic and all that kind of stuff doesn't have to be a bad stereotype. It's a bad stereotype when it means people lessen you, that all you can do is that, or they make it sound like you're more of a commodity or an animal or whatever because of, you know, what you could, because of that, you know, like when you were a slave, they would used to look at black people and say how strong they are and how fast they are and all that kind of stuff. To make them seem like they're other. But sometimes there are some stereotypes that are fine stereotypes. There's no problem in enjoying athletics and being a black person that likes to watch athletics at the Olympics, if that's your favourite sport. There's nothing wrong with that stereotype. There's nothing wrong with liking fried chicken and that being your favourite thing to eat, because fried chicken is great. But the problem is when you don't want people to just think of you as a stereotype, and so you don't want to do things that you want to show that, you know, we're not all just like one blanket kind of person.
Yeah.
We have variety, and so when someone asks you that question, you know, it's like, you know, you're just going to give the stereotypical answer, and although it's true, you're like, oh, but you know, not everyone likes fried chicken. You know, I like fried chicken, but there's like loads of different black people out there. There's vegans out there. There's all sorts that, you know, do different things, but that's why sometimes it does feel like a bit of a weight. And also what I found, if you say things to people that maybe aren't so versed in like other cultures, you say something that fits with stereotype, whatever, like conversation moves on, you say something that is outside of a stereotype, or you act in a way that wasn't expected to them. What's happened to me, like say at work, say that they think I'm quite professional or whatever, which is really annoying, they'll other me from my race. Yeah, that will happen sometimes. So, you know, they're like, they see me, you know, oh, I just see you as Amanda, I don't see you as like a black person. I'm like, but I am a black person, there's black people like me, there's black people like all types of people. Don't say just because I didn't fit your stereotypical box and maybe I've surpassed your expectations that now I'm something different from my race. it's all one thing, and so that's what's frustrating. And I think because we're not represented very well, people can very easily do that to us, group us and other us and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I've got a question for you though. Black History Month, Black Celebration Month, whatever, we know that should there be a Black History Month, there is one. Yeah. And ideally we like the curriculum of schools and everything to be more representative of what reality is. But my question is, in this reality that we have right now, what Black History Month is, who's it for? Is Black History Month for black people? Or is it for non-black people? Like, what's the aim of Black History Month? Because then I guess that tells you what should be in it.
Well, I think it's for both. I think it is. I think it's supposed to encourage and empower black people, make them feel welcome, help them feel valued, and I feel as though it is for others to learn and to gain understanding, because there's things that I've learned every time I've tried to do something for Black History Month. There's things that I've learned and I'm like, oh, that's nice. And there's also things that other people have learned, or it's opened up a dialogue, a healthy dialogue about certain things. Someone said to me the other day, there's like, oh, so we were talking about James Latimer, who he didn't invent the light bulb, but he improved it to a point where it lasted a lot longer. And this woman, she was like, oh, so why did we learn about Edison? Why did we learn about Latimer when he's obviously the reason why we still use it today?
The hidden history.
Yeah, and I was just like, we're in a classroom right now with a room full of kids. I can't tell you what's on my mind. I don't know why they teach that, and I had to leave it at that. But even the fact that we've had that conversation, it opens up people's eyes to actually everything isn't always as it seems, and you can use that with or you can use that angle on a lot of things. So you can use that, and I can kind of use that same scenario and turn around and say, well, actually you're talking about XYZ stereotypes or whatever, or social media said this, or social media, just the media have said this. I can be like, well, remember when we were talking about James Latimer and the light bulb, and that wasn't as it seemed either, was it? So I don't know, I just feel like I think it's for everyone. It is supposed to be inclusive. History is supposed to be inclusive because it's something that's happened before us and brought us to where we are now. So I think it is for everyone. Representation is important. But remember when I asked you before, when I spoke about I was like, but we're just 3%. Why do they have to represent us? Like, I can understand why they feel like they don't have to represent us because we're such a small amount. Yeah,
do you remember that outrage, when the Sainsbury's advert had the audacity to show a black family for British Christmas?
But that's what I'm saying, like, and but that's why it shouldn't just be reduced to a month. Like, it was the fact that Channel 4 did their
day.
What was it? Back to Black.
Back to Black.
The fact that they just had all day adverts, programs, all with black faces, amazing.
Yeah.
However, I don't feel like there should be that big an emphasis on it because it should be normal.
Yeah, so this is the thing. This is why I think there should be a big emphasis on it. So I said before, although we're 3%, we actually make up a much bigger influential part, and we have there's a big presence there. Our culture, our actual labour, everything. Now, and the entertainment that a lot of people get, people love black entertainment. I think there's so much that we do give. That's why we should be celebrated. But it's not just about us being 3%. If we were represented at 3% and we were represented well, but actually we're already fighting a losing battle. We're already starting off like 10 paces behind. And so I think it is important to highlight it more. So if it was 3%, I wouldn't say that we need to have an entire day where you only see black adverts, black news, like news reporters, black presenters, black entertainment shows, black everything. That shouldn't be necessary if we were represented correctly. But because we're not represented correctly, we then need it, because now we need to like fight the battle to show that there is more there. And so it might seem that things are out of whack sometimes, that they're only 3%, but like, you know, 50% of the adverts have someone of colour on there. That may be the case, but if you think about the years of representation, the hundreds of years, the decades or whatever, when we've been so poorly represented or not represented, this is making up for it. And so the balance might be off for a little bit, but that's because it needs to be rectified, because people's views of black people are so out of line with what is reality. And so more work needs to be done to try and rectify that balance, I think.
You know, when you said like, obviously that we are, even though we're few, we're integral, I guess, in the industries or whatever. When me and Kev went to NFL, yes, we were in Tottenham, North London, and I think there is a large ethnic presence there. A lot of black people in there. When we went to get served at the bar to get food and whatnot, because there was such a big queue, Kev queued and I went round. So I went round that way, I went round the other way, and I looked at every single bar. I looked at everyone serving, everyone collecting the rubbish, everyone transporting food from one place to another. They were all black. And I was like... And
the crowd was majority white.
Yeah, and then when I looked at the queue, like, they were almost all white. And that's when I realised, I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, even though there's not that many of us, take us out of the equation, then all of a sudden things aren't going to be running the way that they should be. And that's when I realised, yeah, that's why you're saying that. Because obviously, because a large majority of the workforce, for whatever reason, we won't really go into that right now, is ethnic minorities, such as black people. Yeah, you've got to realise that and represent them. But yeah, it's still mad though.
Yeah,
it's still kind of mad.
That was interesting. You know what? I didn't think this was going to be the conversation. I thought you wanted us to talk about what it's like being black in Britain, like what's it's been like for us growing up, all that kind of stuff. I thought we were going to talk about that, which wasn't really a conversation I was that into having right now. But this was interesting. But I have a question for you then, because I've heard a lot of disputes between like friends and their colleagues and stuff like that. Who then, if Black History Month is for everyone, who should be the ones organising it, if that makes sense? Or making sure it's a thing? Like, who should be the ones to...
All of us.
All of us.
All of us. However,
because I've heard some people get annoyed that if a white person gets involved with Black History Month, they'll be like, why do you feel like you should be getting involved?
If you talk about Black History... No, sorry, we're saying... Because Black History Month is... And that's the problem, it's in the title, Black History Month, so we talk about history.
It should be Black Celebration.
Because it's about celebrating and highlighting black excellence as that's what I've done on my Instagram this year. Month, highlighting black excellence. I feel as though if like anyone can point out someone doing amazing things, and it shouldn't really be that hard to find a black person that's doing amazing things out there, because I've found it very easy to do that. So if it's done right, it doesn't matter who's done it, because there's going to be a lot of areas in the UK where there aren't black people to represent that. Yes, there are places where you can go and get that. So there's blackhistorymonth.org that provides the resource pack and can do all that work for you, so that you can just showcase it. But anyone should be able to do it. It's
true. But you know what the problem is?
But it has to be done right.
Yeah, not everyone is looking at black excellence. There's a lot of people, when they think of Black History Month, like I saw a school, I don't know where the school was, but they got their kids to dress up as slaves. Wow. Like, we have so much history before slavery and so much history after slavery that I'm just like, even if you want to talk about oppression, we have so much outside slavery. Like, slavery makes up a massive part of like the trajectory of our culture and everything, but
even if we're talking about Black history. Like, slavery is less a part of, not in terms of, it is our history, but it's everyone else's history too. So again, this is why it shouldn't just be reduced to a month, and then in that month you want to talk about well, we stole black people from Africa, and then we spoke about Martin Luther King and Harriet Tubman.
There's just so much more to it, isn't it? You need to put a bit of effort into it, but you're right, anyone should be able to do it. But I've heard some people say that it's exhausting because they've, some like more influential people, they've been approached by like TV stations and stuff to do things, and like they're not wanting to pay them to sit on a panel and stuff. It's like free labour, like what does that sound like? What's going on? So I think everyone should be responsible for it and be able to partake in it, but you need to do it correctly.
But like going back to the representation, the reason why I also find it's quite important is because obviously you can't be what you don't see a lot of the time. So the fact that, first of all, probably going back like 10, 15 years, what I used to see on TV would be, I'd see a few black families. No, I'd see black people, on adverts, like UK adverts, but it'd be...
Did we really? I don't remember seeing that.
But this is where you'd see it though. You'd see white family, parents, kids, white family, Asian family, black mum and kids.
Yeah, but I don't even feel like that was when I was a kid.
Or I'd see black mum, white dad, or vice versa.
I feel like this is our early adulthood. I don't think we saw that as kids.
15 years ago, how was that 15 years ago? Early adulthood.
You were 18?
Yeah, early adulthood.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about then. I don't think we saw this when we were kids. As a kid, I saw white people adverts.
But I was saying, but it still wasn't the correct representation. So what I was seeing wasn't the correct representation.
Yeah.
But even when it comes to like hairstyles and things like that, like being told that certain things are unprofessional, the representation is really, really important. Even the way that you talk. At most schools, they'll say, we don't want to hear slang, we don't want to see this, and we don't want to hear that. But who has not a large stake, but a large influence on slang? It's the black community. So when that message is portrayed in the wrong way, it's saying that this isn't acceptable. You identify with that, so you think, well, I'm not acceptable. Whereas it should be, there is a time and a place. You shouldn't be using slang in your work. You shouldn't be using slang when you're addressing somebody with respect. And even that representation,
even that I'm not sure about. This is what I mean. It's why it's so important to get black people in different areas, because you can see how professionalism can be. If you look back a few a few years ago, someone would say that having blonde locks as a teacher was not professional. But here you are, a very professional teacher. You had a promotion this year. You're an excellent teacher, and you have these blonde locks that you're wearing into work.
There is a reason for this though.
There is a reason for and that's the thing. I feel like we've both done this, where we've decided that actually we're going to be unapologetically black, and we're also going to be our excellent selves as well.
Yeah.
And so it starts to become synonymous, not opposing. So if you see a successful black person, they're not just, and it's a woman, they're not just going to be straight ahead, married to a white man, only speak with the Queen's English, and they do all the white people things, but they just have black skin. No, you're going to see successful black people who do black people things. Things that you stereotypically thought were negative, but you're seeing a very positive representation of a black person still listening to that kind of music, still talking that kind of way. Like, people come onto my channel, and I'm even as a kid in it, like, I grew up in a place where there's lots of slang, and I grew up, and basically my main babysitter growing up was my granddad, who only taught us patois. So he, like, a lot of how he spoke, I thought that was just the way you speak, so that's often part of my vocabulary, that's how I speak. And so, but you come on here, you see that I'm a doctor, and I've not come from this very Eurocentric background. Although I didn't grow up in London, because I think a lot of the time people think black people that aren't in London often were the only black person in the village, but that was not my story at all. It wasn't yours either. I was never the only black person. I grew up in a school that had a lot of black people. I went to church that was predominantly black. All my family, like, we're not really, I'll be honest, our family isn't that multicultural, really, like, especially when I was growing up as well. And we were very immersed in black culture, and our family loved black culture. And so I've always had that. And yet, even though I was immersed in black culture and I am part of it and I'm, you know, love it and everything, I'm still able to be professional and to be contribute to society. And that's what people need to see, that having real authentic black culture and all the negative things you see from it isn't always negative. And that's why representation is important. That's why Black History Month, Black Celebration Month is important, because people that grew up in a household where slang was spoken by the adults as well, where patois was spoken, where pidgin English was spoken, or whatever, where you had different kind of foods. If you see that people that did that don't succeed out there, you'll think you can't succeed. But if you see that people out there, they've got backgrounds just like you, and they're doing amazing things, you'll think, oh yeah, well, let me go and contribute to society as well. And that's why, like, on my page as well, if you guys haven't seen, this month I've been interviewing Black British female doctors, and they come from all different types of backgrounds. They're on Medicine Mondays, and it's just so there's more representation out there, so that someone can go out and, like, Google a doctor, not say that you want to be a doctor, because that you can be whatever you want to be, but you can see that their stories are also different. You don't have to come from a particular place, a particular background. And I think that's why, to answer the first question, yes, we do need Black History Month. We do need something to highlight and celebrate us. If things were always balanced correctly, we wouldn't need it, but it's not balanced correctly, and so we do need it. That's what I think.
Cool.
Good chat.
Yeah. If you had a mic, you'd have dropped it.
I don't think that's the sound a mic makes when it drops.
Nah. But,
anyway.
Nah, I think that's cool. But one of the reasons why I wanted sit there. That horrible sound is that time is up, and we're wrapping up anyway. Wrap it up, B. Now, the reason why I wanted you to talk about this is because your insight is very valuable to me. I wanted to share it. So
my insight.
Yeah, into the Black experience. Obviously, we didn't really talk about the intricacies and the negatives about it, but the way that you kind of break those down are usually quite articulate. So I wanted to, I think it's good to just have that conversation during Black Celebration Month. Mm-hmm. Here is an example of Black excellence.
Yeah, here's one too.
And here's an example of Black excellence.
Yeah, thanks.
I think one thing that I am doing, that I've learned from my peers, who have told me stories about the things that they've done at work, and I'm like, right, you said that at work? Like, I am just being unapologetically Black. And we need that, because, like you say, you need to see that it's professional, or you will see those people in the professional workplace, and I need to show little Black and brown kids that are just like I was in school, that I haven't sold out by going to university and getting an education.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation.
And I haven't forgotten where I come from.
Yeah. So there's just so much to talk about when it comes to this. Obviously, my channel is not, the Black representation show. So, like, all of our chats are going to be about, how it's like to be Black and British and all that kind of stuff. We talk about all kinds of things, but I thought it was important to do this on Black History Month. What do you think about what we spoke about? What's your take on it? Should we celebrate Black History Month, and how should we do it if you think we should? Leave it down below. Share a bit of your experience as well. Anything that you agree with what we said, anything you disagree with what we said, we'd love to hear it. And if there's anything else you would like us to talk about, we have a few topics coming up, but we always love suggestions, so please leave them down below. Yeah. So next time on, what did you call it?
On Couch Witchisms.
I don't think that's going to stick, but yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Peace.